All right, welcome back to the One Bar and Lupagus show. I am Lupagus, and if you haven't seen it yet today, or maybe just didn't want to read it or watch it, there was a Patrick Peterson press conference, introductory press conference. First, Rick Spielman got on, and then Patrick Peterson himself got on and answered quite a few questions from members of the Vikings media. I'm going to go ahead and go through that entire press conference with you quickly here and kind of touch on all the highlights. Before I get into that, be sure to comment with hashtag sauce. We are under 100 to go. So we reached that 2,500 subscriber mark. Be sure to comment to get your chance to win that beautiful, beautiful Jimmy Klein saucer print from Pick and Shovelware. All right, first of all, Spielman was just kind of asked how the whole thing went down. Kind of a cool story. He said he got a call from Peterson's agent, kind of gauging their interest. The Vikings' interest in Peterson. Spielman said they did bring him up in free agency meetings, but didn't think they'd have a shot in getting him. After talking to Peterson's agent, he talked to Rob Brzezinski to see if they can make it work. They did. When this was going on, Spielman was at, I believe it was the Georgia Pro Day. He said that by the time he got back from Atlanta, the deal was done. 2 hours this whole thing took to get together. So kind of cool that he was forthright enough to say that, they didn't think they could get him. They didn't really have a chance. But, sometimes things work out. He said Patrick Peterson isn't just a great player, but a great person. And he said Mike Zimmer is very, very excited to work with him. And he also mentioned, which I thought was key, was the experience he's going to bring to the back end of our young secondary, which I think is one of the major appeals to having Patrick Peterson back there, even at his age of 30, just that experience and knowledge he could bring to our young corners. All right, so after Spielman was done, Peterson came on. He was talked about what made the Vikings attractive to him. He said the Vikings have a winning pedigree. He talked about the facilities being top notch a couple times. So clearly, the money that the Wilsons put into this organization, to not just the field, but the training facilities, were definitely a selling point for Patrick Peterson. He's very happy to be part of it. He's very, very excited to be back in purple and yellow, as he called it. We call it purple and yellow, or we call it purple and gold? I don't know. Anyway, but he's excited to be back in the purple. He wore his purple suit. He made sure he mentioned that. So he's looking at different teams he could potentially go to. Working with Coach Zimmer definitely stood out to him. He said his reputation and just his overall work with defensive backs through his career. He said that was a huge part of him wanting to come here to work with them. He also said the atmosphere of the entire organization was huge for him. So, we talk about Mike Zimmer being in this potentially make it or break it season. The fact that he has such a great pedigree and respect around the league shows that he can still has that ability to bring in free agents. So that could definitely vouch for him to stay a little bit longer if things don't go great this year. Peterson was asked about his age, how long he plans on playing. He said he wants to play 16 years, which would be 6 more years. He said he's healthy, he hasn't had any major injuries in his career. He said his body and mind feel young. He still has that competitive drive. He said when that starts to go, that's when players need to know they need to start thinking about hanging it up. He said he feels great. He's in great shape. So that was all great to hear coming from a team, being a fan of a team who just invested $10 million in a 30-year-old cornerback. He was asked about, was there any chance of him ever going back to the Cardinals? He said it was an unbelievable 10 years in Arizona. He said he loved helping the team, the organization grow from what it was to where it is. He really never thought he'd play for another team, but he said it's the nature of the business. He said he doesn't know why it didn't work for him to stay there. He said it's just the way it is. He said he did wish them the best. He had nothing but love for his former Cardinal teammates. He said he looks forward to playing them this year, whether that is on the schedule or not, I'm not sure, but maybe in the playoffs. Was asked about Larry Fitzgerald and how much he helped him in his career. He said Larry really helped him grow. Not just on the field, but he really helped him understand how to be a pro. Talked about the year he came in the league. It was the strike year. Larry Fitzgerald picked him up at the airport. Him and his wife loaded their luggage in the back of his BMW. Kind of a cool story there. He said he considers him a big brother. He's going to miss him very, very much, he said. So kind of cool just seeing how Larry Fitzgerald kind of helped Patrick Peterson, 2 legends really working together there. One legend bringing the next legend along. He said he was asking what it's like to compete against Mike Zimmer or Mike Zimmer coach team. He said the team is always going to be well prepared. They're relentless. he said it just made sense to work with Zimmer because every corner he's ever coached, he's taken him to another level. He said his team has a lot of tenacity. He was asked specifically about his role in the defense. He didn't really get into details about that. He just said the team is loaded on defense. Then he was trying to name players. He could only name Harrison Smith, Daniel Hunter, and Anthony Barr. Kind of surprising he didn't mention Eric Kendricks there in the middle. But I don't know if he even knows who the two young corners are. He did mention Chris Jones, who is no longer with the team, which he was pretty sure he wasn't. He's kind of asked about his leadership style. He said he hasn't really looked at the tape on the young guys, but he does say he has a good relationship with Mike Hughes, and he's excited to show the young corners how to be a pro and study and take their game to the next level. So that was kind of cool seeing him already coming in focused, with that being one of his goals to mentor our young cornerbacks. He said he's kept his body in shape by working out around the clock. He said there's really no off season. You're always working to get better. He said once you start taking time off, that's when you start losing a step. Now this was pretty interesting here. He said he's asked about if he was going to play corner or safety, as he was told he said in a prior interview that he'd be game to play safety. He started off by saying he believes he'll be playing cornerback. He said he knows he has a lot left in the tank. And then he finished that by saying he'll be playing cornerback for sure. So Peterson definitely is going to be a corner for the Vikings. I think he's going to be the outside corner with Cam Downser on the other outside and Gladney moving into the slot. So that's why I see it shaking out, and I'm pretty sure Patrick Peterson believes it's going to be that way as well. So I do not think anybody thinking he was going to play a safety. That ain't happening. He was asked about his last 2 seasons in Arizona not going as planned. He said he doesn't really know what caused it. He said a new start is going to be great for him. He said just things happen during the season and kind of affect how the whole season goes. And he said the last few years just kind of we're down a couple of years. Asked about Justin Jefferson. He said he's known Justin Jefferson since he was 10 years old. He always kept in touch. His brother is the same age as Justin Jefferson. He was really not surprised to see what Jefferson accomplished in year 1. He said he's seen him run routes outside his apartment complex in Baton Rouge. He said it's just Jefferson's always a guy who's always done it the hard way or the right way. He's a hard worker. So he's excited to be here with them. He was just not one bit surprised at Jefferson's early success. So he was kind of asked about how he's going to, work with these young guys, what his plan is to kind of mentor them. He said first it starts with yourself. So he's going to, get these guys to really work with themselves, how they can be better, and just how they need to live up the expectations they set for themselves. So then they work in your playbook, and you learn how to study your opponent. Also, he said it was key to take practice seriously, practice the way you want to play. He said he's seen guys slack off on a Wednesday practice and it carries over to Sunday. So he's going to make sure he teaches these young guys to always take practice seriously. So that was all really great to hear. Last question he was asked is how he thinks he ranks all time with some of the best corners we ever played. He said he's got a long ways to go before he can see where he ranks. He mentioned guys like Charles Woodson playing 20 years, and Patrick Peterson's only played 10. So he said he's got a long way to go. And again, he still plans on playing 6 more years. We'll see if that happens or not. But, it does show he's got a little bit of humility, some humbleness to him that he's not going to go there and say he's the best of all time. So to me, the key takeaways from this were the fact that he said he's flat out not playing safety, he's playing corner. And then just, his role as a leader, as a mentor, teaches young guys how to be a pro. And then he kind of has a plan of how to work with them and help them along. And the fact that he still thinks he's in great shape and is in great shape. So to me, those are the 3 things. In the 6 years that he wants to play here. So maybe this isn't just going to be a 1-year kind of a rental deal. Things go out right. Maybe the Vikings figured a way to extend him and keep him here a couple more years because he truly wants to play 6 more years. Being 30 years old, good shape. Maybe he's still got 3 or 4 years of really good football left in him. So let's hope so. But that's it. That is your Patrick Peterson press conference breakdown. It was quite the long 30-minute presser, but some good nuggets to come out of here. Patrick Peterson. I mean, if you watch this and do not get excited about him playing for the Vikings, you must not have a soul. You must not have a heart. And if you did watch this and felt that way, you need to remember to start keeping your skull in your hole.